Good morning, all. Good morning. Really, our job is to come here and test out the microphone. Welcome to Auburn Theological Seminary. My name is Emma Jordan Simpson, and I have the honor of being the president of Auburn Seminary at this time in history, pointing this seminary in a new direction that you all are participating in today. And I cannot tell you how honored I am that we get to be in the presence of our friend, our partner in healing and hope, Mr. Freddy Mutanguha. So, and you'll hear more from him, and you'll hear from our dean. But I wanted to just begin today by welcoming you. I am excited to see some young faces in this room. I've already apologized to some young people about the world that you are inheriting. Is a world that's beautiful, but broken, and requires healing this world and healing ourselves to be our way of life. And Auburn is really stepping into living that life, of doing what we can to send leaders into the future who also have a heart for healing. So this is a wonderful, program today. You are in for some inspiration and challenge and hope and all of that. Welcome also to all who are joining us online. We can't forget our friends who are joining us online. But thank you. I hope that before you leave here today, after you have had the opportunity to hear from Freddy, that you will also meet someone else in the room and get connected. There's some wonderful people in this room intentionally. That you will meet someone else in this room and you will leave with one thing that you are going to do to contribute to the healing world. So welcome to all of you. And now to our dean of the seminary, the Reverend Dr. Patrick Reyes.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you for showing up today on a Saturday when there's a big parade in town. For those who are online, New York does something this day every year, apparently. But grateful that you all showed up. The Dean's Lecture Series is part of Auburn's larger work and Center of Storytelling and Narrative Change. How do we actually make change in the world? And part of what we're hoping with this series is to preview a theology of human hope. How do we see the future that is worthy of our children and our descendants? And so we've brought in this whole series folks who we think are the best planters of hope. Freddie, you represent that. And we're so grateful you're here. So I can do the official, let me read your bio so people know who they're getting here. I want to say thank you, before I do, to Robin. Thank you also for making this connection, and Emma for bringing the partnership between Auburn and Aegis and Blamo for shepherding this whole event. This has been really great. A theology of human hope. How do you plant these seeds? Let me just say how you've been doing this. You are the CEO of Aegis Trust and Director of the Kigali Genocide Memorial. He's led the development of Aegis Peace Education Program that models beyond borders of Rwanda, areas of risk of Central African Republic, South Sudan, Kenya. You joined Aegis in 2004, Dave, is that right? All right. During the construction of the Genocide Memorial, the team responsible for documentation. You were appointed the county director in 2006. You're chair of the board of the Miracle Corner Rwanda, an organization that aims to empower the community in Rwanda to help bring young people to acquire vocational skills they need to thrive. You hold a master's degree. You have a bachelor's degree in education. You're a survivor of genocide. And thank you for coming here to share your story and your gifts. We'll talk a little bit more about the Auburn partnership with you, but Freddie, thank you so much for sharing your story, your gifts. We want to welcome you here. Yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Dean Patrick. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Emma Simpson. When I met her last year, I definitely understood that we have so many things in common, including our commitment to maintain the hope in this broken world. I thank you all. I thank you all, the family at Auburn Seminary, for making this partnership possible and also giving me opportunity to speak today. Thank you very much. So we live in a very broken and conflict world, but peace is possible. I know this because of my personal experience. I know this because of my professional life. I know that this is possible. This is possible as I know it. I lived in a very, very heartbreaking. Sorry for late. Thank you, Brian. I know it because I lived in very broken and very heartbreaking conflict. I've been into the process of forgiveness. I've been into the process of reconciliation and transformation justice. I know it professionally because I work for Aegis Trust. At Aegis Trust, we work to predict, prevent, and also to eliminate genocide. We do it through education. We do it through research and evaluation, bringing people together, but also, you see why I spend most of my time at Kigali Genocide Memorial, which reminds us what's the mistake of the past. In the memory of the victims of genocide. This is the memorial. It's a royal burial place. It's a memorial that was established in 2004. We have a lot of visitors. One of them, actually, my friend that joined us today, Brian, and his wife, Jennifer. So we have 10,000 visitors per month, which is a big number at the same time. Next. This is Kigali Genocide Memorial. As I mentioned, we have it's a burial place where we have more than 250,000 victims of genocide buried at the same those mass graves you see. We have 2 lines you can see, but we have more lines up to the valley, which is very long. And these include my parents and my sisters. Next. Before I go too far, I want to introduce you to my country. It's a very beautiful country, very small country in the heart of Africa, really right in the middle of Africa. You can see the red dots there. It's a country where I have 13 million people at this moment. The number is increasing, of course. I'm the one actually increasing the numbers because I'm with my children. Its economy is based on tourism, higher education, tech, technology, and finance. And Rwanda today, the very good news, is one of the safest countries in the world. Next slide. In 1994, genocide didn't start in 1994. The world press and the news actually portrayed Rwanda as a thriving country. But the Tutsi and the Hutu and the Twa, they lived for centuries together. And before 1959, we didn't have any war, we didn't have any genocide. These are 3 categories I just mentioned. Categories of Hutus, they are farmers. The Tutsi, they are cattle herders. And the Twa, the best artists, but at the same time, they lived in the forests and with the fruit gathering. But those three tribes and three categories, I can say the economic categories, we live together for centuries. We have the same language, have the same religion, have the same culture, living side by side. We didn't have a Tutsi land and a Hutu land, and we had intermarriage, and also you may move from one social category to another one. When you lose cows, of course, you become a farmer. That was really very possible. Next. But in the earlier 20th centuries, Germans occupied Rwanda and were replaced by then Belgians until 1962. But the damage was already done because when the Europeans arrived in Rwanda, they exploited actually the Rwandan workers with the forced labor. They introduced this system of forced labor. They made Rwanda to grow coffee and other crops, and this actually been exported to European countries. The colonial powers, they also created the identity cards, and personal identity actually become what the opportunity available for those people. So I want to show you the example. If you can, okay. Sorry. These identity cards played a big role in the division of Rwanda. These identity cards helps actually people to be identified, and this helps really the genocide to accelerate, because even if the scientists have shown, actually even wrote the books that the Tutsi and Twa and the Hutus are completely different, it was possible when you meet someone in the street to be confused. Actually, they say the Tutsi are tall, very sharp nose, very sharp lips and everything, but when you see me, I'm not like that. And I'm a Tutsi. So it was very important for them to create identity cards so that we don't identify people with their appearance, because it's so confusing. And but at least you can show your papers. And in identity card, you have to show that
On this way.
yeah, okay.
You want the light?
Yeah, I want the light there.
Laser.
Yeah, okay. So on the identity card, you have to show that it's very clear that you're Hutu or Tutsi and Twa. And if you don't mind, yeah, it's not going to work, but I can show you. Maybe online will be not seeing me, but when you see here, the Hutu, the Twa, the Hutu, the Tutsi, Twa, and naturalized, those people actually got a nationality. So when you see here, the Tutsi, the Hutu is crossed, the Hutu is not, the Tutsi is not, the Twa is crossed and naturalized is crossed. And the same, this is an identity card, but this is a census card. Do you see the name of this person?
Yes.
This is my census card. Not only in identity cards, but all papers that identify Rwandans used to show that you're Tutsi or Hutu or Twa. And this was actually a way of discrimination. This, if it goes, they had, for example, they had what they called fish suives, and this is fresh. This was for the students. You had a form that takes you from primary school to whatever level. Wherever you get, people have to check what what the ethnic group you belong to. They can admit you or not. That was very, very easy. And this is done on the ministerial level. And you from very rural area there, but they have to know who you are. That actually was the way of discrimination that was introduced this time. So in 1959, that's actually where the journey of genocide started. With the full support of colonial power, the extremist Hutu started the violence against the Tutsi. And that time, 20,000, around 20,000 of them were killed. More than 300,000 were sent to exile, where others actually were deported in habitable places. And this is actually the southeast of Rwanda, where it was like a jungle, was a forest, where the Tutsi were deported there because they had flies, and it was really very, and so many people died in those places. In that time also, the media, schools, and the government fostered the idea of internal enemy. So those who remain in the country, they become a target to be killed, and they become enemies of the country. They were called all the names to dehumanize that people. They were called Inyenzi, which means cockroaches. This is an example, but they had more names like snakes, like stealers, the liars, and everything. So this was all the names that were actually given to the Tutsi people. So outside Rwanda, those refugees who went outside the country, they were not allowed to come back. And they've been living in the refugee camp for many years, like 30 years that time. So to be able to come back, they have to come back by force. The idea of forming rebel group, which is the Rwanda Patriotic Front, was to at least to be able to save people who remain in the country. So they attacked Rwanda in 1990, and then they will become more stronger and stronger from the north of the country. The Habyarimana, who was the president at that time, felt the pressure, and he reluctantly agreed to form a coalition government. And that government, he said that maybe people from refugees and even the Tutsi can be allowed now to be part of the government, because they were not allowed to go to school, to go to government, to own a civil servant, to be part of the army, anything. But now he said that maybe you can have a mixed government. So that time he agreed on ceasefire, which actually the ceasefire was agreed but also corrupt. In 1993, he signed the peace accord in Arusha in Tanzania. And this was actually the ceasefire at that time was not genuine, because the government wants to buy time and prepare the final solution. The propaganda was used as a weapon of the genocide. Even around 20 newspapers and the journals inside the hatred against Tutsi in the lead-up to genocide. And they also formed the militias. And this militia, there's a letter that the former head of UN peacekeepers in Rwanda, to the UN actually UN Security Council. And what he said, he was informed by one of the soldiers that the militias have been trained, effectively trained, to kill 1,000 Tutsi in 20 minutes. That was really very effective, and they had all the systems and the way to kill the people. So, on 6th of April, 1994, when Abdurrahman signed the agreement, his cycle will not really agree. They say you cannot integrate Tutsis in the government. But because he had that pressure, he signed on the paper. So his cycle, they hated him on the 6th of April, 1994, when his plane was bringing back to Rwanda, actually for further talk on the agreement, and his plane was shot and he was killed. He was killed in the plane, but his cycle that's really organized this shot and killed him. They blame all this to the Tutsis. And this is how they got their reason now to do a mass killing. That's how actually they incited even the normal citizens, the Hutus, to kill their neighbors, thinking that the Tutsi killed their president. That's how actually more people get mobilized, including the militias who've been already trained, and they gave weapons actually to kill the Tutsis. In the course of 3 months, in 100 days, 1 million people were killed. 300,000 children were left actually orphaned, and 1,000 of widows, many of whom were victims of rape and sexual abuse, and also the street actually everywhere in Rwanda, if you can say actually all the street actually you can feel the smell, and the body actually the whole street was littered with dead bodies. So the Rwanda was completely destroyed. As the legacy of genocide, so many people were physically wounded, so many people were emotionally and psychologically wounded. So talking about kids and children left behind, they were orphaned, they were casualties, and the women, because the rape was used as a weapon of genocide as well, people who knew the HIV positive and others, they raped women. And after genocide, when they did census, they shown that even 64% of women who survived the HIV positive, 80% of them, they were traumatized of the what they have seen. Imagine, many of them, they've been imprisoned by the killers and the genocidaires. And you can imagine living with a child of your perpetrator. You have to breastfeed that child, and you can imagine the relationship. That's one of the challenges that Rwanda will have to face. Not only that, because this is Freddy, and I survived this genocide. It's a horrible atrocity and the genocide. I want to tell you my story. 1 year ago, I sat down with this man. His name is Samson, and I went to visit him in the prison. His orange uniform is prison uniform. This man murdered my family, and it was 14th of April. And the 14th of April, this was the time I actually lost my childhood and my home. And on the 13th of April, that was my last time I saw my mother. On 7th of April, when they started attacking my house, my mother thought that they were looking for men and also the boys. And she said that maybe you're the one to seek you have to go to find a hide. I went to hide in my friend's house, Peter, and he was my colleague at primary school. He held me under his bed, and I lived there for almost a week. But this family was very poor. They could eat just once a day. My mother knew that because, and she would be sneaking and coming to see me each and every evening. We were very, very close, and she brings food all the time and say, I know, and I share, and I come up from the bed and then share with my friend Peter. Peter was very happy that he can get food as well. But on the 13th of April, she came with passion fruit and beans. And she knew I didn't like it. She looked at me and said, Freddy, this is what I have. Because I was still being given to the militias who've been attacking for a whole week, and they were giving them food or money and go back, actually money and food and save them for the week. But this didn't happen to other neighbors. So she looked at me and said, this is what I have. But she was completely different. She looked at my eyes and said, Freddy, if you survive, you're mine. I was a little bit confused. I didn't know why she said that. Be a man in my language is to have a courage. You may not have anyone to support you, but you need to stand still. But a few minutes later, I completely understood what she said. And she continued saying that we have a lot of attacks. We don't know that tomorrow we'll live again. She looked at me, she kissed me, and she left. And this is my last time to see her. Because the next morning, they came from my family. I heard that they took first my parents. They took them away. And I heard that they killed them with a machete and class. When I was with Samson, who was actually the leader and the strategist to make sure that no one survived in my family, he said that among the killers who came around 60 people who would attack my house. Among them, there were the specialists of killing children. These are the ones who killed my sisters. They killed my sisters, Consolee, Angelique, and Florence, and Illuminate. They throw them in a septic tank alive and throw them the stones on top of their heads. I can hear the screaming and they calling for help. Even calling my name because I was a big brother. They thought that maybe wherever I am, they didn't see me, but maybe I can come for help. Not able to do that. So when I went to visit Samson, he also said that he looked at my sister and because the rape was used as a weapon of genocide, but also the local leaders, they used to incite Hutu militias to enjoy with the women because they would kill them later anyway. So he looked at my sister and he said that I was planning to rape you, but I have so many women to go through and I couldn't get back to you before you escape. My sister was angry that time, but she happy that she managed to hold herself. Yeah. Samson, I was going there, and it took many years to be able to do that because I had to find the strength and I have to find the strength to do that. When you look at people I lost during genocide, I can count 80 members of my family. And these were killed in only 3 weeks, not many weeks. These are people I knew living together in the same village. They are my cousins, they are my aunties, they are my grandmothers, the first, on both sides actually. And I lost them. So how this country, from all this country experienced, can come up from the passions of genocide. So right after genocide, sorry for the picture, Rwanda had a lot of challenges to go through. The international community looked away when the genocide was happening in Rwanda. But those people who took arms, while the government was busy killing people, they made a pressure and defeated the genocidaries government. It was very possible to have a mass revenge, and we were very happy and very lucky that the army that was defeating the government, the government, didn't seek for revenge. And among them, even all of them, they have relatives that have been killed in Kigali, in Rwanda. But they didn't say that you cannot be called survivor today and be perpetrator tomorrow. This country will never start up again. We had another challenge of justice because we had so many survivors calling for justice. And it was not possible to have justice when there are a lot of people that have been involved in the genocide. 120,000 people were in jail at that time. If you use the usual justice system, the estimate was showing that it would take like 100 years to finish the last case and no one would be alive. So we had to go back into our own culture, how we used to resolve our conflict. And we came up with the gacaca. I'm sorry, check the gacaca course because I didn't pay attention on the size of this picture. The gacaca course, gacaca means short grass, and short grass under a tree in the shadow, where the wise people and many people in the village come and sit and try to resolve their conflict. In that time, they used to elect the wise people to be the judges. And this is what happened during the church. The perpetrator used to be brought back to the community. And even people and members of his own family, some were judges, and they have to make a case for this. And so the church can be compared with the Truth and Reconciliation system in South Africa. The only difference of it is the fact that the Truth and Reconciliation, actually the truth went out. The chapter also, the perpetrators were incited to tell the truth of what they did, so that the survivors able to know where the bodies of their family are buried, exhume them, and bury them with dignity. And also, the perpetrators, their sentence may be reduced if they tell the truth, and also ask forgiveness. And so many of the perpetrators have asked for forgiveness, which enabled and they give a foundation to the reconciliation in Rwanda. But we, as the Rwanda, we also needed to find and bury the dead people, our family. But how do we create a memorial when our hearts are still breaking? And how do we honor the dead? And how do we tell the story of genocide? By asking us questions, the leaders, the authorities in Rwanda actually went to visit this beautiful Holocaust memorial in Nottingham, UK. They met the founders of this Holocaust memorial. They liked and inspired by this memorial, and they asked James Smith and Stephen Smith, one of the founders, also the founders of Aegis Trust, to come to Rwanda, and they helped to build the memorial that I've shown us in the first slide. But James and Stephen Smith were very reluctant and say that we don't have authority to build a memorial there because we, as part of the international community, we looked away, we didn't do anything, we forget about it. But the government of Rwanda say, you are the right people to do it. Please come and help. So when the memorial was officially opened, which was really become a home for survivors, because it's a memorial that's built alongside the masters. The Aegis Trust also developed the peace education program, peace and value education program, to help actually creating skills and values that helps to be resilient and resisting the manipulation and violence in the future, so that we can break the cycle of violence. But also, the peace education program helps and accompany other initiatives that goes in the line of reconciliation and forgiveness, focusing on young people, but also the communities. And this program have been integrated to the national curriculum. Now is taught to primary and high school and all levels. And it reaches 2.5 million young people in the country. I was asked, when I joined the memorial in 2004, in 2008, I was asked to, because my background is in education, specializing in curriculum development, and there I was asked to develop this program. And I was hesitating because I have to check because you give what you have, and you have to explore the nature of forgiveness and resilience. So the first thing I did was to go back to my village. When I get to my village, I invited the people who been released from the prison, and those among them have been the killers of my family. I invite them to visit the memorial, and they come, and I've been the guide. I organize transport, and then they come to the memorial. I didn't tell anyone of the memorial, by the way, because I didn't know how anyone really would react to have perpetrators at the memorial. They thought that normal people are coming to the memorial. There was a mix of the perpetrators and survivors as well, because my friends who still live there. One of them actually passed away before I came here. I'm very sad of that. Um, so by touring the memorial, I saw one perpetrator. I was so surprised. One man was crying. And I know this person killed so many people. And I was so confused, but at the same time, I understood that even if, because I thought that he completely lost his humanity, but I thought that I realized that we still have some sense of humanity that we can nurture and grow again. That's how I start to understand perpetrators. When I built this, I developed this curriculum, I was much more confident that we need to listen to perpetrators as well so that we can actually make this program supporting the reconciliation process. So you can see this man. I'm with them, I'm with the group. The man behind me, when we were visiting the memorial, I was visiting inside the memorial, the man actually who cried and who actually made change my perspective toward perpetrators as well. So this program has a lot of impact in my country, and I want to share with you some of the impacts that I'll come back to that slide later. I want to share some of the impact in terms of forgiveness, and I want to share the story of Maria and the feedback. Maria, she had 4 children during genocide. During genocide, her children were killed, and her husband were killed. Her children were killed except actually the little child she has on her back, And Maria had lost her family, except her mother she saw after genocide. She had eight siblings, and these people, they were all killed with their own families. Maria, Gilbert, who is on this picture, was 19 years old, was almost teenager, and he's among the perpetrators or the killers of her family. They were neighbors, and Gilbert at school, he was taught that Tutsis are bad people, and the best thing you can do as a citizen, as a best citizen of Rwanda, is to kill a Tutsi, at least one. And that's how he was drawn into the group that went to kill Maria's family. He subsequently went to prison, and after a certain period of time, he was released because he participated in the church. He gave the truth of what he did, and he asked for forgiveness. Went out the prison. He went to see Maria, and he asked for forgiveness. Maria, after a certain period of time, it was like 2 years later, Maria decided to forgive him. So now they live together in the same village. They live in a very small village together. Gilbert comments, he said that Maria gave him back humanity. And Maria said that by forgiving Gilbert, she felt much more relieved. And they live in the same village together. Maria and Gilbert, one day they came to speak at the memorial. And one of the visitors who were there was English person. I'm sorry, John, to say that, to mention English people here. he was listening to Maria and Philbert's story, and he commented that in only 10 minutes, he was able to forgive the two people he thought he would never forgive. And the testimony from Maria gave him a perspective that his experience with these people is nothing compared to what Maria experienced and the Philbert. You can understand how the human being, they're the best teachers to our human being. The role models like Maria and Philbert, these are people who can teach people to change rather than, among you doctors and professors. But it's hard, it may take time for professors and doctors to change people's attitudes toward actually others. But Maria and Philbert, they did it in 10 minutes. Another example I want to share with you is one of the young person in Rwanda. When he participated in our program, he said that he said, "Thank you to save my life and life of the people I was about to kill. My plan was to go to school, join the army, get a gun, and go back to my village and kill people who killed my family in 1994. But today, I see this is not a good plan." So he is no longer going to do that. So that's how you can see our teaching methodology. We're not really using very scientific way of teaching. We're sharing our testimonies, we're sharing our experience. And through sharing experience, people change, and people really feel they have to do the same. We try to find role models among the community to be the best teachers. So this program have been shared with many other countries. Dean Patrick actually mentioned many countries we've been going to, and we've been seeing transformation. And as I'm a man of actually and believe in resilient and secure nation. But we live in a very complicated world. And I know it's difficult time. Every country is experiencing what people may not feel secured in those countries. But again, I want to come back to my statement that peace is possible. And we are committed to share this world, to this message to the world. By doing that, we are at Aegis Trust. We're called by so many communities to share these messages. By creating the another campus, sister campus, we are so committed to create the Isoko Peace Institute, which the year Isoko means source, and we want to make it a source of humanity. It can be source, but it depends on how you pronounce it. You may say Isoko, it becomes a source, or you can call it Isoko, just affecting a little bit, and become a market. But the way you pronounce it, it all makes sense. It can be a source of humanity, a wellspring, and a spring or stream of water, but it can be a market where we exchange ideas. And this is very important that we we can make this world as a market where the good ideas can be exchanged. Very, very important. This land is purchased, the 10 acres and 15 minutes from the airport. There's a new airport that is being built in Kigali that will be open soon. So we strategically position ourselves there because we want to build a museum of where people can come and visit, and we call it Museum of the Future. We have the memorial as a museum in the past. We want to create a museum of the future. And all ideas, urban seminary is doing a really important job in this world. We want to have a home in Africa of urban seminary where what you're teaching, how important your message is, how important of your of work you're doing, having a home. So we're happy to have a representation of your work there. So it's close to the lake. It's very beautiful. So the airport actually is on the opposite side, which is very important. We call it Soko, which is the source or stream, or because it's also very close to the water, which is very, very important for this lake. So it will be a destination for peacemakers and resource for the world, because we want to get people to come together, they exchange ideas. We want people who actually in a conflict come and talk about their differences and try to find a solution and try to make this world peace is possible. We want to be a place of archives and research about genocide and reconciliation and bring people together who are involved in the global conflict. And you're welcome. So our vision is to establish a culture of peace and build resilience against the communal violence. I'm not going to read everything, but we have good vision and we want you to join. I want to spend some time on this graphic. If you don't mind, if you're not tired, I want to take you to Africa. But if you're tired, you want to sleep, you can stay here. But I'm taking you now to Africa. And I'm taking you to the jungle of Africa and to meet my friend, elephant. And a friend of mine, we don't want to study its body. I want us to study its trunk. Because its trunk actually means a lot for me. So in our teaching content, at the memorial, we talk about the past violence. So there's descending line on the trunk that actually goes into 10 steps to genocide. We try to make people to understand how a normal person can become a killer if you don't pay attention. But we want to give people hope as well, that when the mass atrocities happen, or if now we are about to happen, there is a way path to benevolence. There is a path to peace. And this elephant, this actually curve, this we call it Inzovu curve. Inzovu is in my language, or actually the same as elephant. Inzovu curve, this is actually what you want to teach. The memorial on one side talking about path to violence, but we need a new campus that talks about the way to peace. I want to give you a little bit about what we mean about those steps. I'll talk about the step to violence, but I'm happy to share this slide. You can study yourself about, right? So this is, we were inspired by work of Auburn, He's a psychologist. He's a retired professor from Massachusetts University who studied actually psychology of perpetrator. And he showed a gradual process that influenced people psychologically to accept and commit violence against others. What he said, people felt difficult and living when their life get deteriorated. There is difficult life in Rwanda when they introduced the forced labor. People start actually feeling so threatened, and life becomes too difficult because they cannot even decide when and how they can live their own life. So when you are in that situation, the first idea you have is to start actually to find a comfort. And you find comfort mainly joining groups. You can join a group of religious group. You can join people with you are the same skill. You can join a group of people you have the same values or other people. But when you join a group and you decide to be in a group and live another group, what you created actually is us and them, and that's the starting point. And when you created us and them, so you started actually scapegoating all the problems that actually that you have to other group. In Rwanda, when when the forced labor came, they made the Hutus mainly to work, and the Tutsis, who were like cattle herders and others, many of the Tutsis were made the survivors, and they thought that the Tutsis are the one actually doing that. So they were blaming all the forced labor to the Tutsis. But the Tutsis didn't have a car because the forced labor was you produce coffee, you have to create roads. In Rwanda they didn't have a drink coffee, they didn't even know what coffee is, and the Tutsis didn't have a car, they didn't even know how the cars they work. But they say they blame the Tutsi that you're the one holding the supervisors. So they're scapegoating them on everything. So when you scapegoat them, and then you start discrimination. So when you say that these people have done this, they are the one, the problem and everything, you start actually pushing them away, and you deny some of the basic human rights. And what happened after that on step 5? You join that group, you have to obey. You have to join also the ideology. So that ideology and the destructive ideology promoted by the headers or the leaders, you join it. And this is actually the very important step. If the leaders, people have power, become bystanders. If people do not say no, what is going on? What the next step become unstoppable. If you have leaders also, if you buy don't have what I'm saying here is sometimes the leaders also are become extremists as well, so that they don't take action, but also they don't allow the action to be taken against the group that comes up. So when it goes to step 7, now the country is descending completely in a big violence, because the structure and there's a structure now, the violence become acceptable, and things become normalized. You find people get hit or get killed in the street. You look at that and actually start to say, okay, it's normal. If they hit your child, the child comes crying, to say, I don't have anything to do because no one can support you. So people, there's a way of manipulation because the leaders of the groups, if they see some people start even stepping into action based on the hate, then they start actually doing propaganda. That's how they recruit so many people to join. And you go to step 9, where people start even calling the names to that group that you've been discriminated. In Rwanda, become cockroaches and others. In step 10, then things become unstoppable, not controllable. The violence and the civil war starts and everything. The genocide now is going to happen. So I'm going to leave this and say that our work is actually that small line. When things start descending, we need to be able to lift it up and then go back to the peace. There's mitigation effect. That's what Seminary and Aegis Trust are committed to that, and many other initiatives around. So, we have so many other slides to go through, but I'm very sure that have taken a long time. But I want to ask you to join us in this vision. Joining us, we are so pleased that everybody is understanding us a participant to the conference we have in July 2024. Thank you for doing that, and you will not regret. But I invite those who are not. We have you can join the link event.aegis.org. You're all invited to join us. You can share your ideas. What do you want as ISOC of this institute to do? Please share your ideas, or you can introduce us to people who care about this work. And at the same time, you can even take risk to say this is possible, and we get the journey together. So I want to say that for the ISOC of this institute, you can use this QR code to have more information. And I want to really to thank you very much for listening to me. I talk a lot, I know. I'm so sorry for that, but at the same time, thank you for your patience. Thank you.
We have about 10 minutes for questions, but before we get that, I want to say thank you, Freddie. Also, my grandma always had this practice of saying, look for people who breathe breath into the world. You're breathing life into me, and I think to all of us here, and I'm going to invite us in the room to also return our breath to our bodies after we hear stories like that. So just take a moment before we jump into hitting you with, I'm sure, 5,000 questions. Just breathe. I'm going to pass the mic for anyone who has questions. We have time for 2 questions in the room, and I know the folks online, look at the camera, folks online may or may, you can ask the host a question. So do we have questions for Freddie? I'll run the mic to you.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
Here we are as well. Hello, my name is Jeanette. I have a question in reference to your ID card that you had to carry around. What year was that you were carrying around an ID card in Rwanda?
The ID card was introduced in 1932, and it carried on until 1994. And this actually was there, and
I asked you that question because in Miami, Florida, African Americans had to carry an ID card to enter on Miami Beach during the time of segregation, and it lasted until 1972. But I just wanted to make the correlation that the things that are created seem to be very exchangeable, no matter wherever you are.
Thank you. For just being able to do that. What has been the role of the Germans in this healing and in this process? I know that it was the colonization that introduced this conflict. So how involved are they in the healing and the work of the Institute? I always ask difficult questions.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Germans colonized Rwanda since 1884 until the First World War, when they lost the war in 1960. So that time was the time that the forced labor actually started. And they introduced the forced labor, and they made life difficult. You wake up in the morning as a head of family. You don't know if you have to work for colonialists or have to work for your family. And you had the hunger, so many times that Rwanda experienced hunger because people are not working. They're working for the colonialists. You have to, when your houses, for example, you have chicken, you have to take some eggs to the white spirit or the colonialists. So that's what they introduced was really very harsh conditions for the people, and they left. We didn't know where it was leading, but when the Belgians come, they face some resistance of people of Rwanda. They say that these people, what they're introducing is really hard life in the country. So they faced resistance between, and even the whole Tutsi Hutu and Tutsi were really against because they felt lead when the German left. So they say when we have other colonialists, we need to fight with them. So you have so many fights. So the political divide and rule was brought mainly by the Belgians. And they brought what they have. Of course, they have two parties, two actually opposing people, the Balance and so we, in the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium and also French-speaking part of Belgium, they were even trying to do exactly the same by separating Tutsi and Hutu, and this was more easy for them to act by dividing them and creating resentment. I guess it was a very clever way they did it. Yeah.
We're gonna hold other questions also so that way we have time to thank Freddy in person. So we have snacks and all that after, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the lecture series at the end. But thank you, Freddy, for everything. We want to make sure people express gratitude. They have time to do that because it's a small enough group. I want to invite Emma up to say some pieces. Oh, stay right here. You guys.
I want to give you a hand. People don't owe us their story. how we commit to changing the world, and how we support those who share their stories. So I want to thank you again for sharing your story, and I know that you all will as well. I hope that you will scan that, but you may be baby boomers like me. Like, do you have some hard copies of the flyer? Because I hope that some of you will be interested. And we are working hard and praying that we will have the opportunity to take 20 clergy, 20 leaders over with us this summer. And if we can, pray, but if we can, we will put that up on our website, and those who are interested will be able to apply to go with us. So for those who are zooming in to hear that, check out our website mid-April, beginning April, mid-April. Yes, exactly. Because you will be paying for it. No. But again, thank you all for coming. I want to say also, you know, it matters when you have friends who know your heart. And so I'm so grateful to Robin Heller of Athena Advisors, who have the Ministry of Making Connections, who introduced me to Freddy last year. And we have the opportunity also to acknowledge the chair of the Auburn Theological Seminary Board, Dr. Derek McLean.
Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Freddie. So just, there'll be food, there'll be time for us to fellowship, and just to say one quick announcement about the Dean's Lecture. We have one more lecture coming. We have Phyllis Webstad from Orange Shirt Society. She is Northern Shuswap and Sitkwagatham, a First Nation Canoe Creek Indian band up in Canada, who's going to help us reflect on how Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities reconcile and heal from the history of boarding schools. That's May 7th. I encourage you all to come. She's good people. For those who are in the room, if you want to see her books or her stuff, she's a friend, so I got all of her stuff in my office. You can come by and see it. And her kind of foundation is Every Child Matters, which I think reflects a lot of what's been here, you know, how do we restore humanity. So help me thank Freddie one more time. Thank you all for coming.